Welcome to the clinical cookout. You know you need it, it's kinda scary, but mental health is necessary. Four educated queens taking the lead, hold their hands and they'll help you succeed. Lay your head back, relax, just like that. Now listen to, learn, and your problems will burn away. Cookout, you know, we got just what you need. At the cookout, your heart and mind we will be. At the cookout.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are qualified clinicians who will cover various topics on mental health and will sometimes provide community resources. We are not being paid by any organization for our content, and any information we provide is general and pertains to our own personal experiences. We do not provide psychotherapy, diagnoses, or treatment recommendations on air. Any concerns related to your individual mental health should be directed to your medical and mental health professionals. We are not responsible for others' decisions or the subsequent consequences.
Welcome back to the Clinical Cookout. Today for our hot sauce, we're going to be talking about something that had the parents and the children in a tizzy. And that is Inside Out Part 2. Now, I want to know, because all the aunties have seen it, what their thoughts or what was going through their mind when they saw it, and just what their feelings was around this movie.
First of all, I like when soon as I saw Riley about to be a teenager and I saw embarrassment come out there and a little French dude, he might have been ornery or something, but the little French dude that was on the couch, and then anxiety. I love the anxiety because that was some real stuff. Riley was losing her friends. She wasn't feeling like she was a part of that circle no more. She was like trying to figure out what to do as a teenager. I thought it was amazing. I really did. I loved everything about it. And I thought anxiety was hilarious and they're tearing up stuff.
Freaking loved it. I teared up on certain parts. I literally, when those other emotions came in, first of all, when the destruction team came in, it was like, we about to tear stuff up. Puberty is about to tear stuff up.
Yes.
I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And I especially liked when they went into her parents' brains, the adult brains, and they had the same emotions sitting there working the table and trying to get them. Oh, what is she talking about? Like mom's anxiety was like, oh God, we knew this was gonna happen. What do we do? What do we do? I'm like, yo, I remembered myself as a teen, and then I was like, that's me now. Like I got two teenagers going through this. So it was just, I felt seen. I felt seen from inner child me to adult me.
I freaking loved the movie. Like I loved it, but not just from it was more of like from a therapeutic standpoint for me because a lot of the ways that they were explaining some of the concepts that we try to explain in therapy to younger kids, it was in an age appropriate way, which is so hard to do through a movie. So I think it was done beautifully. And my favorite, okay, y'all know anxiety was my dog because anxiety he be on me real hard in daily life. But my favorite part was how they explained the sense of self. Like when I heard them say sense of self, I was like, oh my God, I use that in therapy. Like, yes, yes. But I was just like, they said it. They're using the real words to explain what it is, what it means, how it develops, and how it, ties to your core beliefs, which are also things we try. So I absolutely loved it from a therapeutic standpoint. It was amazing. And it definitely explains those preteen, teen years and how things shift mentally for them. When you think they got an attitude or they don't want to listen or whatever, like they got a lot of stuff going on that's shifting in their body and they don't know what to do with it, so they just reacting to stuff real quick. But I loved it. It was an awesome movie.
I think one of the best scenes I liked was how they executed the panic attack. I think that it was a really great moment to put that in there, maybe from a child's perspective or preteen's perspective. And I thought, oh my gosh, that seems so realistic right now. And so much going on in your brain and like the sensations that you feel and how she was trying to hold on and how she was trying to, I was like, man. So whoever the mental health therapists are, if you need some additional expertise, the clinical cookout will be here and ready. And we hope that you experience peace for the rest of your days because it was well executed and well done. And all of us therapists on here in the clinical cookout loved it. And Yeah, I just thought it was a really really good way of expressing emotions, and I really liked, I think toward the end, where they had like the little flower thing or whatever it was, and Joy took it down for the to reemerge the new sense of self with all the emotions existing. So I just thought that was just, oh gosh, it was just so well executed and so well done. I would really love, and this is just my suggestion, is that they start to do one for boys. I understand that it was great for Riley and it was a great story, but I think that oftentimes little boys get left out when it comes to emotions. And I think this will be a great time, since we're talking about emotions and mental health is so, you know, discussed these days. I think having a boy play a part in this will
Well,
be great.
they don't
Keish,
want to do the wet dream and puberty on the cartoons, Keish.
Oh my
We
God.
we don't gotta go there.
first
I
of
mean,
all,
we
girls
can.
have hormones and
They
develop
did it for,
too.
which one did they do for the red panda? Is that
Oh,
what we
Red
were?
Panda was Red Panda, the movie where she, yeah,
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 it was about her menstrual.
it was
So
about her menstrual. Which,
I mean, I could think that you could do it in a developmentally appropriate way. I don't think there would be some parents that would be happy about that, but I do I do think that we could wiggle some way in there how to address that in a developmentally appropriate way. But I do think boys need to be also thrown in there, and discuss their emotions growing up, because I feel like that's often put to the side, or we don't center that enough. And so that's just my personal opinion. But
I
Inside
love
Out, 10 out of 10.
idea. I I think that I really do think the boys one would be quite a bit different than Riley, even though the
Mhm.
same emotions would be present, the way that they present themselves would be different. Because I bet
Mhm.
you if the psychologist they consult with has worked with teenage boys or preteen boys, the anger and the sadness would be somehow intermixed. Because
Yep.
what they do for boys, they often misinterpret the outbursts and the yelling as anger when really there's like an underlying need for like acceptance or something like that. But I think the
Mhm.
biggest um thing that I took from the movie is how you're so stable in who you are as a young kid. Not all kids, but most kids. You're like, this is me, this is who I am. My parents have told me this about myself, and that starts to develop your beliefs. And then when you're taken out of just being around your parents most of the time and you're placed into a school setting where you're around peers, around teachers, around other people that are telling you different things, that's where it's like, oh, my sense of self is not so stable anymore. Like, who am I? What's going on? And now I've got hormones that are coming. I wish they would have added some little hormones, like the little minions in Despicable Me, added some little
Yeah.
hormones in there or something to come up in there because the
Oh,
hormones,
that's
they
good.
gonna tip the scales
fucking
too.
dope. Yo,
But
if
yeah,
y'all take that idea, that is Dr. Amber Dorsey's idea. Don't play.
some little
Ain't
minion
nobody
hormones
take
coming
that.
up in there. No, but I do think that it speaks really well to teen development and what that looks like. So in our main dish, we are actually going to be talking about teens and development and hormone development and what that looks like.
A cookout, we got just what you need at the cookout. Your heart.
Welcome back to our main dish, where we're going to be talking about preteen and their development, specifically when we talk about hormones and how do we manage, or the things that we need to look for as parents. So I want to kind of point in the direction of Auntie Ashley, who's going to discuss misconceptions.
Well, okay. So when it comes to the preteen years, as adults, I always say we forget sometimes what our preteen years were like and what we went through. So we often have a lot of things come with what we think our teenagers, preteens are going through. Like for example, you hear so many parents say, "Oh, they're just being over dramatic," and it's like, well, no, they trying to figure out how things are firing in their brain right now because it's new. It's an introduction and a flood of hormones at this time. You have girls experiencing all type of different growth spurts within their body that they don't understand, from breasts and getting their first menstrual cycle. And boys go through things too. They go through changes in their voice and physical changes where they might see some of their friends getting taller while they still haven't hit their growth spurt, and then wet dreams, all these different things that these children go through at this stage that they don't understand. And a lot of times we as parents, We have this idea of adolescents that they just don't care what adults think. They're rebellious. They don't like their parents. This is a time in their life where they just go against everything. They risk takers, which all of that could be a part of it, but it also falls under misconceptions because no, in reality, the one about them not caring what their parents think, they actually care a lot. And it's about how you approach it and not how, because they going through some things. They trying to figure out their identity because now they don't only have your voice, they have their peers' voice. And that's what makes it a difficult stage. So I think if, as far as misconceptions, if you believe a thing about your teenager or about preteens in general, check into it. Like, because it might not be true. It might be an actual developmental part of this stage that you just don't understand.
Actually, I wanted to correct something. A misconception is that they do care about what their parents think more than their peers. That's not true. They actually care about what their peers think, and they value their peers' opinion more than their parents when they're going through that stage. Now, every child wants and needs to be parented, but when they are valuing what their peers say, they care about, if they look like punks, if they look like simps, they care if they care how they look in front of their peers more than their parents. That paradigm shifts later on. So that's why it's hardest in your teen ages, because the peer influence is so strong at that age that the parents' voice is in the background. The parents'
Right.
voice comes to a circle
That's what I
later
was
on.
saying. The misconception is they don't care what their parents think. They that stage of development where where they get into the identity stages, the peer influence becomes stronger, but they do still care what their parents think. But a lot of parents be like, they don't care what we say no more. They just gonna do what they want to
They
do.
don't. No, you were right when you said they don't.
Oh, you think they
At that
don't?
age, their peers' voice is way louder than the parents' voice.
True,
Like,
true.
they're not like, I really care about my mom thinks. No, they care about what their peers think, and what their mothers say and their fathers say. It goes out the window. Everything that they've been taught starts to get reconstructed
I get what
by
you're
their
saying.
peers.
Right, I get what you're saying. I think I said a misconception because I think some of them still do care, but that peer influence is so heavy. Like it's a battle. Like, do I listen to my friends or do I listen to my parents? I'm gonna listen to my friends because they're more important right now. So
I
I
think
know,
it can be both. I think
yeah,
it can be both because I have worked with some preteens, teens who do care a lot about what their parents think in terms of wanting their parents to be proud of them. I think that's like the biggest thing I've heard is that I don't feel like my parents are proud of me, but my friends are. My friends tell me how great I am, how awesome I am. So I do think they care to a certain extent. Some of them, and some of them, they really don't care. Like they just want to fit in. And this is where that social anxiety increases a lot at this age, and that is typical. So I do get a lot of referrals for evaluations for preteens. Like, she's got so much anxiety, like she can't function. Like, oh my gosh, this is clinical. I know she's going to be diagnosed with anxiety. And then it comes back where I'm like, actually, this anxiety is age appropriate. Well, it's a lot. It is a lot. Because when you go into these preteen and teenage years and you start to worry more about what your friends think, or not just friends, peers, people around you at school, then you start to like look at yourself like, oh, am I doing something weird right now? Are my arms? Y'all remember Riley in Inside Out too when she was walking and she was like, why are my arms like this? I should do it like this. No, I should do it like this. No, like it's literally like that for preteens. Like you're constantly in your head nonstop trying to figure out if I'm looking okay in front of them. What are they thinking about me? So that level of anxiety, that big increase that you see, that is pretty typical. Now, when it gets to the point where like they're not wanting to go to school or they're like, going underneath the table, and that's different. But just seeing that increase is pretty typical because of how their mindset shifts in terms of what's important to them. And the peer influence is really important at that age, like Auntie Shook was saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And not that it's that they never care. They, you want to you have to please your parents. Not even if you want to, you have to, right? You have to at least. They know that they're not going to lose the love of their parents. I'll say that. You ever been kind of in like a relationship where you may be a little bit more abusive to the person that you know is going to love you unconditionally because you're following other people? I would liken it to more than that. But yes, the parent's voice is a lot louder. Look, prep jet. Okay, go ahead.
I would say, when it comes to these misconceptions and everything that's going on, the battle of the peer influence versus parental influence. When I work with teens, they talk a lot about wanting their mom and dads to understand them. And so when we get to that part of parents not understanding them, oftentimes I think of how the parents conceptualize their child's behavior. So when we think about, parents and how they conceptualize their child's behavior or the teen's behavior, I often think about what type of regulation management skills does the parent have? Because if you are automatically assuming that your child having an attitude is disrespect when your child is really just having some hormonal shifts, then how do we talk about the parenting regulation? And typically, parents get, I'm going to say parents, but I think humans in general get self regulation and self control confused. When it comes to self regulation is when you are aware of the distress that you're in. So you're willing to manage those emotions that you have going on. Because we know that when one person is escalated and then another person is escalated, what does that create? Escalation. Probably a bomb, possibly. So I think that when your child is in this preteen stage, there's going to be some expectancy of these hormonal shifts, these behavioral changes, emotional changes. So I would love to know, like, what are y'all doing as parents to help with regulating your emotions? We often talk about kids, but we tend to skip what parents do for themselves. So I don't know if the aunties have ways that they manage their emotions, even with your children at the age they are. I know, Shug, you have a teenager. Auntie Ashley, you have teenagers, so I would love to know what that's like for y'all.
Listen, I'm not always emotionally regulated. I will never get on here and pretend like I am. So, if you know me, I'm not always emotionally regulated. So,
And I respect that. I respect you being honest. Most people aren't going to be honest. I'd rather you be
yeah,
honest.
because some stuff is disrespect. So
Right.
sometimes you run the risk of being like, I just want you to feel your feelings in disrespect because sometimes they be coming at you and you be like, who are you talking to? I
Right.
understand you might be going through things, but you don't get to talk to me any kind of way. And so
That's what we call setting
your
boundaries
emotions,
and setting limits.
yeah, but
Yep.
then your emotions can kind of rise up a little bit because it's like when you feel disrespected, especially if that's your trigger, and you by somebody that you really love and somebody that you really care about, it can cause you to be emotionally dysregulated, and then they're already emotionally dysregulated, so it can be a big old conundrum. So what I've started doing is I've started being like, okay, I'm gonna let that blow off, I'm gonna let you rock with that one, and then I'm gonna like listen to you a little bit, but I'm gonna stop you when you're getting disrespectful. So now I'm gonna teach you how to speak to me, but speak your truth. So I have to stop sometimes in the middle of it. I don't care about your emotions right now. Fix yourself, because I ain't raising nobody that's gonna be disrespectful to me and nobody else in society. So it's I'm not your friend kind of relationship over here, but I'm teaching you how to be. So I'm teaching you how to. I'm gonna let you manage your emotions, but you still have to do it in a respectful, and with a respectful balance.
Like Shook said, I am far from always emotionally regulated. I know when I'm not. When I have blown up, I have been known to go back to my kids and say, look, I lost it. Let's start over because I know I lost it because they done pushed me too far. They done pushed all the buttons and I done lost it. But I started something with my kids and to this day I still do it. I will tell them when I know they upset about something or really angry with me or angry with their dad or whatever, something happened at school. Two things I say to them. One is what my mother said to me. Do not take your anger for something else out on the people that didn't do it. So when you come in this house, if something happened at school, we can talk about it, but you can't blow up at me. If you blow up, I'm going to tell you, go to your room and cool off. But I also give my kids the chance to blow up. I give them a space, kind of like a rage room. I will tell them, however you want to say it, whatever you want to say it right now. You have free reign, do it. Because I'm giving you this pocket to where you can do that and then we could talk about it. We can talk about all that you just felt, how you felt it, how strong it was, and then we can decompress and really talk about it. But I want you to blow off your steam because I need to blow off steam sometime. If I don't get to, it just compresses and then I'm gonna blow up over something small. So I want you to be able to do that. I want to give you that space. And my kids realize because I give them that space, they don't do it as much. They like, nah, I'll come back and talk to you. Let me go in my room because I'll do that. a concept I took from couples therapy with John Gottman is you don't want to stonewall and just not talk about a thing and brush it under the rug. But if your emotions are heightened and you can't bring yourself down, walk away for a minute. There have been times that they have gotten loud and I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs. And when you're ready to talk normal, you could come in my room and talk. Because if I don't, I'm gonna just go with them. So I give them the space and I also let them know when you're ready, we can discuss how that wasn't okay or how you could have said that in a better way. That's just how I go about it with my kids.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's part of like modeling the self-regulation for your kids as well. I don't have teens or preteens just yet. But I think that one of the ways you can help when you get to that point is teaching them how to regulate their emotions beforehand. Because if you get a kid who has no idea how to regulate their emotions, their outbursts when they're a preteen or teenager is going to be way worse than a kid who you have tried to at least teach emotional regulation. So one of the things I do for my kids, they're both pretty young. We ain't in the preteen years yet, but I do like verbalize it, my feelings. Like I literally will talk them through it to the point where sometimes I do lose it, but they know I'm about to lose it because I have said, all right, you've asked me that question 3 times and that is really irritating me right now. Like I'm at the point where I might yell at you in a little bit, so I'm gonna need you to give me some space. That's teaching them to respect my boundaries, but also teaching them like, okay, when I get upset, there's levels to it. It doesn't just go straight to it's time for me to yell at you. So I do model that for them. But I guess I just want to ask the other parents who are watching, what are some of the strategies that you use to deal with your preteen or teenagers' emotions or to regulate yourself? What are some things that you do with your kids? My
Uh-oh.
bad.
Oh,
Go ahead. Shook.
All right. Go ahead, Keish.
all right, all right, all right. All right, so now we're into our main dish where we're going to be talking about teen development. And no, we're not. Teen development and what is we doing? We got it, we got it, we got it. We got it, director, we got it.
Okay. What are we talking about again? I know the topic. What's the subtopics in there? Okay.
What you talking about, Suge? Bye. Anyway.
Look now, you can only bring up porn and wet dreams one time. You can't keep talking about that shit over and over again, okay? I know.
That's you don't bring it up one time.
One time, and then we keep it moving.
This is the main dish. All right.
I'm gonna start the goddamn main dish off. Welcome to our main dish where we'll be talking about. It literally went out my
Wet
brain.
dreams, porn, knitting your own lotion and your own socks.
No.
Box
Teen
fetish.
development. Okay.
You have boys who don't understand wet dreams and things like that. You have all of these different things that children, I did not want to say it because I knew y'all was going to laugh, but it was going that way. I had to say it. Damn it.